Hello everyone. So welcome back to the second video on types of triangles. In the first one, we discussed the theory part regarding the types of triangles. That is, what are the different type of triangles we have according to angles, according to sides, what are their specific properties. And then we also discuss important type of right angle triangles, that is 30, 60, 90 right angle triangle, 45, 45, 90 right angle triangle. And apart from that, we also discuss conclusions for equilateral and isosceles triangles. Okay, so this is basically what we did in the previous video. Now from there, we are now coming to the questions part of these, so that you are able to bridge the gap between the theory part and the questions part. So we're going to take up like a couple of questions in this video, and what I'll be expecting from each one of you is that you'll be pausing the video, since you all know the theory part now. You'll be pausing the video, you'll be trying the question yourself first, and then you'll be playing the video back in order to understand how to solve a particular question. So this is question number 1. So pause the video guys and try this question yourself first. Alright, so let's start with this one. So question number 1 says, if three sides of a triangle are 6 centimeter, 8 centimeter and p centimeter, then find the integer values of p such that triangle is always acute or obtuse angle triangle. Alright, fine. Now whatever type of triangle you may have, whether acute, whether obtuse, one thing that stays constant, which is something that we discussed while we were doing the theory part or the basics of triangles, was that sum of any two sides is always greater than the third one and difference is always less than the third one. So one thing that will stay constant whether you do it for acute angle or for obtuse angle, it will be that p has to be less than 6 plus 8 no matter what happens, and p has to be greater than 8 minus 6, which means p has to be less than 14 and p has to be greater than 2. So the only integer values which p can take is from 3 to 13, that is basically 11 values. No other value for p is possible, whatever type of triangle you may have, whether acute, obtuse or right angle triangle, nothing else can happen. Now if you talk about right angle triangle, it needs to satisfy that the Pythagoras theorem. So you can say that p square can be equal to 6 square plus 8 square. Also 8 can be the hypotenuse. So 8 square can also be equal to 6 square plus p square. So from here you will get p is equal to 10, and from here you will get 64 minus 36, which is 28, that is root of 28. Now root of 28 is not an integer value, so the only integer value which will give you a right angle triangle is 10, which means out of these 11 values, 10 will automatically give you a right angle triangle. Alright, now let's talk about acute and obtuse. So we're going to solve for the acute part first. Now for acute angle triangle, I told you that square of any side is always less than sum of the squares of the remaining two sides, right? Which means p square has to be less than 6 square plus 8 square, which will give me p square is less than 10. Sorry, less than 100, which means p is less than 10. Because we discussed that while we were dealing with acute angle triangle, that square of one of the sides is always less than sum of the squares of the remaining two sides. Also at the same point of time, I also need to ensure that 8 square is less than p square plus 6 square. So which means I'm gonna have 28 is less than p square, which means p is supposed to be greater than root 28. Now when you'll calculate root 28, you don't even have to do that, because you should be knowing this, that If p square is equal to 25, then p is equal to 5, and if p square is equal to 36, then p is equal to 6. So the value of p will be like somewhere between 5, it will be between 5 and 6, so it will be somewhere like 5.3 or 5.4. If you want p to be greater than 28, p being an integer value, then p can have values such as 6, 7, and so on and so forth. It cannot be 5 because it is greater than 28. So my conclusions are p is less than 10 and p is greater than root 28, which is greater than 5.5 something. So the integer values I'm going to have is 6, 7, 8, and 9. The integer values I'm going to have are 6, 7, 8, and 9. So for these four values of p, your triangle will always be an acute angle triangle. For these four values, your triangle will always be an acute angle triangle. Okay. So one value 10, which will give you right angle triangle. Four values 6, 7, 8, 9, they will give you acute angle triangle. So one thing is for sure that out of the remaining 11 values, so I'm gonna like subtract 1 for right, and I'm gonna subtract 4 for acute. So for the remaining 6, it has to be obtuse. For the remaining 6, it has to be obtuse. Anyways, we're gonna prove that also, don't worry about that. So let's see for obtuse part now. So again, we're gonna take two cases. One is when p is obtuse, second is when 8 is obtuse. So if I have p as obtuse, if p is obtuse, then p square has to be greater than 6 square plus 8 square, which means p square should be greater than 100, which means p should be greater than 10. Now p is greater than 10, and at the same point of time I know that p has to be less than 14. This is the general conclusion for any type of a triangle, which means the value that p can take are 11, 12, and 30. You can also verify your result. If I take p to be 11, 11 square is 121, 6 square is 36, 8 square is 64, so 64 plus 36 is less than 121. Same thing you can say for 12 and 13 also. Alright. Now the last case, when we are going to take 8 as obtuse. So I'm going to have 8 square greater than p square plus 6 square. So I want p square to be less than 28, which means p is less than root 28. Now root 28 is somewhere around 5.3, 5.2. So p can have values such as 5, 4, and so on. And I also know that p has to be greater than 2, which means the only three possible values for p in this case is 5, 4, and 3. You can again cross check your result. 5 square plus 6 square, 25 plus 36 is 61, which is less than 64, and same thing you can do for 4 and 3 also. So if the value of p is 11, 12, and 13, or 3, 4, and 5, it's obtuse. If it is 10, then it's right angle, and for the remaining values it has to be acute. Okay, so this is how you can find out the number of possible acute angle triangles or obtuse angle triangles using 6, 8, and p. That's the concept. All right, now let's move on to the second question. So again guys, pause the video, try the question yourself, then play the video back. All right, let's see this one. So in the triangle below, angle LMN is 105, that is this angle here is 105. Angle MNL is 45, this is 45. find the area of triangle LMN if LM is 10 centimeter. Okay, this is given as 10 centimeter. Now we know that sum of the angles in a triangle is always equal to 180, so M plus N is 150, so L will automatically be 30. Okay, so whenever you get a question something like this, now your exam, or let me put it this way, your syllabus doesn't consist of much of trigonometry. So whenever you get an obtuse angle, what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to drop a perpendicular from the obtuse angle to the opposite side. That is what I'm going to do in this question is I'm going to drop a perpendicular from M onto ln, something like this. And you will always do that. Always you will do this. Okay. Now when you're going to drop this perpendicular, let me name this as O. Now let's talk about triangle NOM. NOM. One angle is 45, one angle is 90. So I can say that the other will automatically be 45. If this is 45, the other part will automatically become 60. You can again see that your triangle will be divided into two parts. First having angle 45, 45, 90, second having angle 30, 60, 90. You will always get an obtuse angle in such a way that you will either get a triangle, right angle triangle of 30, 60, 90 or 45, 45, 90. There will be no other angle, because for other angles you need to know trigonometry, which is not part of your syllabus. Okay. Now if this is 10, now let's talk about triangle LMO. Opposite to 90 you have 10, so opposite to 30 you will automatically have half of that, which is 5, and opposite to 60 you will have root 3 times of opposite to 30, which will become 5 root 3. Now come to the other side of the triangle, that is MON. Opposite to 45 you will see 5, so opposite to other 5, opposite to other 45 you will again have 5, and opposite to 90 you will have 5 root 2. Now you can calculate area, perimeter, whatever they ask. If it is about area, you can do it half into base into height. I'm going to take base as ln. My height will automatically become OM. So that is half into 5 into 5 into root 3 plus 1. So that will become 25 root 3 plus 1 divided by 2. If they ask you to calculate perimeter, so do that. You're going to have 10 plus 5 root 3 plus 5 plus 5 root 2. So that is nothing but you can take 5 common, 2 plus 1 plus root 3 plus root 2. So that is 5, 3 plus root 3 plus root 2. And that is your answer. So it's a very simple question. Nothing fancy about this. Alright, let's move to question number 3. So again, follow the same process, guys. Pause the video, give this one a try, then play it back so that you understand how to solve the question. Alright, let's try this one. So this one says find the area of quadrilateral shown below. Four sides are given, one angle is given as 90. Let me name the vertices also. So we have A, B, C and D. And I need to find the area. So what can I do with this one? Now, I do not know anything regarding quadrilaterals, because what we discussed was regarding triangles. So that means this question has to do something with triangles. And apart from that, for a quadrilateral, if you want to find the area, then it's the formula is like half into a diagonal multiplied by sum of the perpendiculars dropped from the opposite vertices. Anyways, we do not know that. We'll discuss that in the later phase or in the later videos. As of now, we need to solve this question with the help of some triangle property. So if I want this to be a triangle, now this angle D is 90, so I'm not gonna draw, or I'm not gonna connect B with D, because I don't want to disturb this 90 degrees. I want to make use of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect A with C. So I'm gonna connect A with C. So this triangle ADC will automatically become a right angle triangle because this D here is 90 degrees. Okay, now I can use the Pythagoras theorem also, and I can say that AC square is equal to AD square plus CD square, and I'm gonna get that AC square is equal to 24 square plus 32 square. So this is going to be like 576. 24 square is 576, and 32 square is going to be 1024. So you're gonna get that AC square is equal to 1600, which means AC is equal to 40. So this is 40. Alright, and I can also calculate area of this triangle by simply using half into base into height. So area of this triangle will simply be half into 24 into 32. So that is 24 into 16, which will give you 384 square units. Now let's come to triangle ABC. Now in this triangle ABC, I'll realize that this triangle is an isosceles triangle. Alright, now I need to calculate its area. So what can I do? The only formula that I know is half into base into height. And since B is the vertex which is formed by joining the two equal sides, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a perpendicular from B onto AC, something like this. Now we discussed that while we were doing isosceles triangle, that is, if you drop a perpendicular from the vertex which is formed by joining the two equal sides to the opposite base, then that perpendicular also divides the opposite base into two equal parts. So if I name this point as some point E, then AE will automatically be 20 and CE will automatically be 20. Now BEC or BEA, take any of the two triangles, again use the Pythagoras theorem. So you're gonna get that 25 square is equal to 20 square plus height square, where height is this BE. So from here you'll get that H is equal to, let me calculate that rather than writing my answer directly. So you're gonna have 625 is equal to 400 plus H square. So you'll get H square is equal to 225 or H is equal to 50. If you want to calculate the area of the triangle ABC, it's again half into base into height. So the area will become half into base. I'm going to take base to be 40 into height, which is 15. So this is 20 times 15, which is equal to 300 square units. So what is the entire area? It's 300 plus 384, that is 684 units square. So in one of the cases I have used right angle triangle, in the other case I have used the property of an isosceles triangle. Alright, so this is the last question for this video. So pause the video and give this question a try. Alright, so let's see what we can do with this one. If in the figure given below BD equals to 4, so this is equal to 4. Angle CAB is 45, so this is 45. And angle DBA is 75 and this is 75. You need to find the area of the figure. Alright, now if angle A is 45, then that means C being 90 in triangle ACB, that means this remaining part has to be 45, which means this remaining part has to be 30, and which means this angle has to be 60. So if you talk about triangle DCB, opposite to 60, it's like 4 units. So opposite to 30, it's going to be 4 by root 3 units. Using the ratio 1 is to root 3 is to 2. And opposite to 90, it will become 8 by root 3 units. Okay. If I want to calculate the area of this triangle, it's going to be simply half into DC into DB, which is half into 4 over root 3 into 4, which is 8 over root 3. Now if I come to this triangle ACB, opposite to 45, it's 8 by root 3, so opposite to the other 45, it will again be 8 by root 3. And opposite to 90, it's going to be 8 root 2 by root 3. And area of this triangle ACB, again half into base into height, so 8 by root 3 into 8 by root 3. So that is 32 by 3. So total area of the figure will be 8 by root 3 plus 32 by 3. So you can take 8 by root 3 common, 1 plus 4 by root 3. And that is your answer. So these are more or less the types of questions which you need to know. Now you may not get the same questions in the exam. However, my purpose of giving you these questions is that you are able to use the properties that we have learned in the previous videos. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching this video. That will be all for this video. So keep watching and keep learning, guys. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, any thoughts, do let me know in the comment box. Okay, thank you so much.